Hey guys, it's Wanted, and today I'm going to give you one tip versus every hero on Cassidy. I currently have over 5,000 hours on him spread across multiple accounts and peaked at rank 4 in Overwatch 1 and rank 23 in Overwatch 2. These tips are for beginners, but I will be doing an intermediate and advanced video in the future, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see those. So let's start off with the things. Against D.Va, you can actually use combat roll to reduce the damage you take when she uses her ultimate. So this also means no matter where you stand, you'll be able to survive through it even if it's directly on top of you. Similarly to D.Va, you can also use the same tip against Doomfist when he's about to land with Meteor Strike, as you'll most likely be his first target. Utilizing roll well is also extremely important to cast against Chunker Queen. So if she ever lands her throwing knife on you, make sure to save roll to cancel the momentum immediately after she pulls you back. When Malga's charging in, you can dodge his slam by rolling laterally, because if you roll backwards, you'll still get hit by a stun. Against Orisa, you should react to the spear by rolling laterally, similarly to Malga. Also, make sure you roll immediately after she uses her javelin spin on you to dodge her spear. Fan the Hammer is great at breaking against shields, as it is one of the highest DPS abilities in the game, so if you ever see a Ramattra pull up his shield, make sure to actually utilize it. Magnetic Grenade applies a hinder effect on the target, which stops them from using their movement abilities, so if you ever see a Reinhardt charging directly at you, landing a Magnetic Grenade will stop his charge. You can also use roll to dodge his charge, so if you don't have the Magnetic Grenade off cooldown, make sure to utilize that. If you ever get hooked by Roadhog, roll immediately to tank his one shot, since roll reduces all damage by 75%. And if you're in a 1v1, try your best to predict his hooks so you can dodge by rolling laterally. Against Sigma, you want to make sure you're never getting hit by his rock, so whenever you see him about to use it, roll laterally again to dodge it. If you do get hit, at least you'll have the damage reduction. When facing Winton, throw your Magnetic Grenade after he jumps with his combo. That way, he won't be able to use his leap right away since his movement abilities will be hindered. Against Wrecking Ball, use the Magnetic Grenade whenever he's trying to initiate, because it'll stop his ability to slam. Make sure you also don't play near ledges, near high ground, as you can easily get booped into a bad spot. And for the last on the list, try to never use your Magnetic Grenade on Zarya unless she has used up all her bubbles. Her bubbles will cleanse any debuffs, so try to count how many bubbles she's using. And that's all for tanks. Let's head over to the DPS. For Ashe, you can use your Magnetic Grenade to stop Bob's running path if it's being thrown directly at you. If you don't have Magnetic Grenade, you can still roll laterally to dodge the Bob. Against Bastion, he'll most likely use his ultimate on you. So if he does, walk in one direction and then roll in the opposite direction you are walking as soon as the shot's been casted. Now against Cass, the mirror matchup, use your roll if you're unable to hide away from his high noon, as the 75% damage reduction will help you survive the high noon shot. This has saved me many times, so I highly recommend if you're just stuck with your pants down, use your roll. Echo has some crazy bursts with her sticky bombs, so always try to save your roll when she uses them on you to reduce the majority of her combo. You can also use a roll to potentially dodge the stickies entirely if you use her early enough. Genji can deflect your Magnetic Grenade back at you, so before throwing it, wait 2 seconds after he deflects and then aim the Magnetic Grenade above him so the hinder will chase him. If you ever get caught in Hanzo's ultimate, use your roll since you'll be reducing the damage by 75%, which is a ton. In a similar fashion, you can also use your roll to tank Junkrat's Riptire if you're unable to kill it before it reaches you, and I highly advocate you try to kill it since roll will be able to save you no matter what. 75% smile. Similarly to Genji, you can time your Magnetic Grenade before Mei finishes her Cryo Freeze, since it'll slow her as soon as she comes out. Against Pharah, use your roll mid-air to prevent getting booped off by her concussive blast. So if you're ever near the ledge shooting against the Pharah in a 1v1, try to save your roll specifically for this moment. When Reaper is closing in, initiate with a Magnetic Grenade, since you'll be able to force him to use his Wraith, or it'll disable every single one of his abilities along with the slow it applies, and it should be an easy kill. In a close range duel against Sojourn, initiate with Hinder as well, since she won't be able to slide away. This is also great for Soldier, as it'll also stop him from being able to use Sprint. When facing a Sombra, throw your Magnetic Grenade to stop her from using her Translocator. And on top of this, you should always try to avoid getting hit by her Virus by using Roll, since Virus will chunk your HP by a lot. Against Symmetra, since she'll most likely be focusing your tank, try to keep a distance and land the Magnetic Grenade so that her movement speed will be reduced by 25%, and this should also enable your team and your tank so that they'll have a window of opportunity to kill her. Torb's turret is a nuisance to your team and applies a DPS passive to everyone it hits, so make sure to take it out as soon as possible to relieve the pressure for your supports. If you ever think Tracer has a pulse bomb available, try to save your roll. That way, if you're ever stuck, you can actually tank the damage and live through it. And also, bonus tip, if you're close to full HP, you'll also be able to tank it using High Noon. Against Venture, before they come out of their burrow, throw your magnetic grenade above them so they won't be able to use their drill dash. And finally, against Widowmaker, use High Noon immediately if she plays without cover. She won't be able to kill you through High Noon since it'll reduce her headshot by 40%, and you'll still be able to kill her if she doesn't use her grapple to find cover. Now finally onto the supports. You can use Roll versus Ana to avoid both the Sleep Dart and the Anti-Nade. Targets like Ana and Ashe are a lot slower when scoped in, so make sure to always poke her when she's scoping in to heal her team. Magnetic Grenade stops Baptiste from using his Exo Boots, so whenever you see him charging it up, use your Magnetic Grenade as soon as he's about to jump and try to shoot him whenever he's in the air since his jump has a very predictable path. Against Brig, aim your Magnetic Grenade above her shield before it breaks. Either she bashes away and Nade will chase her, or her shield will break and she'll get hindered. Magnetic Grenade does stop Alari from using her outburst, so make sure to use it first. Then take the 1v1 to stop her from getting away. Bonus tip, you can actually throw the nade at Alari while she's ulting mid-air to force her to descend and possibly ruin her ultimate. When versing Kiriko, you can force her to use Cleanse by throwing Magnetic Grenade on her. This allows your team to play more aggressively, especially if your team has game-winning ultimates like Junker Queen Rampage or Genji Blade. Against Light Fever, try to always shoot the tree with your primary fire or your Fan the Hammer, since the tree will most likely be keeping everyone alive no matter how much damage you're dealing. You'll get a lot more value and impact as a team by breaking the tree instead, since the tree provides overhealth to the enemy team. If you ever see a Lucio wall riding up high with no cover, it's a perfect opportunity to use High Noon and enjoy his froggy corpse fall down. And bonus tip, if your team is running a Lucio, tell him to use Speed Amp as you use High Noon, so you'll be able to close the distance before the enemy team finds natural cover. Marcy is unable to use Guardian Angel when hindered, so be sure to use Magnetic Grenade on her to stop her from getting away. Also, if you see her using a Valkyrie with little to no cover, you might be able to catch her by using High Noon. Against Mora, try to force her fade by using melee in front of her. This animation could potentially force her to use her fade, since the throwing animation and the melee animation can look very similar to her. Also, bonus tip, if you're in a 1v1 against the Mora, just stand still and shoot her, since her damage is constant and yours is burst. Finally, for Zenyatta, you can look to hinder him right before his Transcendent ends, as he'll take the explosion damage and will also be slowed right after. Well, that's it for my beginner tips for Cassidy. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or ask me on my Twitch, as I'm live every single day. Finally, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I'll be coming out with an intermediate and an advanced tip video soon. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.